and of course they can get velocity because they can watch how long it takes for the planet to cross the face of the star, right? They can time it from the time it enters the sun's face or the star that we're talking about, and it goes across in the entire width of the star, and then it disappears again. And they can determine from that orbital velocity. And of course, if you know your physics, if you know orbital velocity, you can then get the orbital radius, because if you're in this radius, you will orbit this fast. Gravity is proven and shown that it doesn't matter how heavy you are, it just matters how far you are from the star that you're orbiting. And so, for example, if you were out in space beside the International Space Station, as long as you're the same altitude above Earth, you'll both orbit Earth at exactly the same rate, because it doesn't matter about the mass of the orbiting body, it only matters about the distance that you are from the star. And so we can determine the velocity as we watch this thing go across the star, and then from that we can determine the distance it is, and then from the class of the star, and we can determine the class of the star based on the temperature of the star's surface. Oh, and you can determine the temperature of the star's surface by looking at the light that the star emits, because light comes off in a multitude of wavelengths, but there's always a peak wavelength. There's always just one wavelength that stands out more than the others. And that wavelength of light can be used to determine the surface temperature. Then from that, of course, we can determine the temperature of the star. And so if we know the distance that the planet is from the star, and we know the temperature of the star, we can then figure out if the planet is in what we call the Goldilocks zone. The Goldilocks zone is the zone where it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right.